Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the sweet sounds of the Tree Your Mind podcast, right?
I love it.
Yeah. It sounds like Lee Edwards from Night Tracks on Light Rock. No, it was KHI, I believe it was back in the day. Yeah, remember that? Flash Phelps, and you could call in and do all the dedications.
High Five at 9.
Yeah.
I'm trying to record that every night.
So it's funny, you're a big music guy, right? I am too. I think we have a vast knowledge of music that spans all genres.
It's pretty surface level. Mine's pretty surface level.
It
might be wide. I don't know how deep it goes.
Come on, man. Like every time we're together, I think there's a little genre souffle there.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, but it's funny because if you ask me like my favorite artist, I'd name some hip hop. I'd name some, obviously a lot of classic rock and Pink Floyd's and Pearl Jam's and all that stuff. But if you ask me my favorite genre, I think people would be so surprised
what is your
that my favorite genre is probably like 80s and 90s, like love songs, like slow jams. And
Tell me about that.
The reason for that is because when I was growing up, my parents, like most parents would make, me cut the TV off at like 9 o'clock or 9:30 on a school night or whatever. So I still as most kids couldn't go to sleep and was like longing for some content. Mm-hmm. So I'd, roll over and put my little yellow boom box on and I'd listen to music. Well, back then it was cool because I could like try to hear like any like older guys I knew, like my cousins and their friends calling in to make dedications to their girls. So you would listen just to hear them call in, but in the process,
early social media.
Exactly. Right. And in the process, you would essentially like hear all of these songs and the song, I mean, they were powerful music. You know what I mean? Like it was touching.
Is there one that stands out in your head right now that's playing?
End of the Road always sticks out as like the Mike Jordan of love songs for me. End of the Road. Actually, I don't even know if it was love. It's kind of a breakup song, really.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, End of the Road was great. I always loved Lately by Jodeci. I hot take, Stevie Wonder's like my number 4 all-time favorite artist. I think he's my favorite vocalist of all times. But I think Jodeci hasn't beat it lately. Lately on the Unplugged version is it's one of the greatest moments in Unplugged history.
All right.
And that's up there. And I'm talking,
go check this out.
That's up there with Eddie Vedder on Black and Nirvana Unplugged and all that. Yeah. Lately by Jodeci and Unplugged.
It's not popping up in my head, which is cool. So I'm going to go check this out.
Powerful shit, man. Like, it's awesome. But anyhow, enough of all that. So let's get into what we want to talk about today.
What is it that you'd like to talk about today?
Before we do that, let me remind you guys are listening to the Tree Your Mind podcast with myself, Matt Trader, and of course, my good buddy, Wayne Smith, right? So anyhow, my last name's Trader. So I'm always thinking about trading, right? It could be commercial real estate. It could be stocks. It could be fantasy football players, right? Yeah. Anything you can think of under the sun. But one thing that I really don't have, and I have an understanding of it, but one thing I'm not as into as you is the precious metals, right? The silver, the gold. That's something you are very much into right now. Every time I talk to you, you're always talking about trading silver. What is it that has got you into silver? And, kind of talk about the process you go through. The floor is yours. I'm all open, all ears on this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it started as a curiosity. Let me back up. Yeah, about 25 years ago, I had a good friend. Still run into him, a high school friend, and he would ask me about, what are you doing? What are you investing in? And at the time, it was real estate. I was in my 20s. I got going in real estate and spent 18 years in real estate before I got out just a little while ago. And I always told him, no, I don't have any gold. I don't have any silver. I'm buying real estate. I'm working on these other things.
Yeah.
Fast forward to here recently and watching where he has gone or how he has grown his businesses, his world, and then the impact from that, the freedom that stacking silver and gold and other precious metals for him has allowed him the opportunity to go launch other businesses. All of his businesses are paid for. Company cars, vehicles, etc., properties, some Airbnbs now, everything.
Really?
Same age as me, 44.
Just from stacking silver or
and
precious
gold.
metals, gold. Okay.
Anything that, and it goes back to, anything, as he once told me, that's not taxable. That's the rich collect.
Yeah.
That's how I got into real estate. I started asking questions. Well, this is 2002, 2003. Had a degree in city planning, and I met some people that happen to have rentals and doing very well for themselves. It was passive income. They told me it was mailbox money. All these different things that if the rich didn't build their wealth in real estate, they held it through real estate.
Okay. Yeah.
And in an economic sense, nobody's making any more land. Mm-hmm. Land's a fixed commodity.
Yeah.
There's a finite resource of land unless you're building sand islands in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. and who knows how long those will hold up, right? Yeah. Any of it, really. So that's kind of the basis of it years ago. And the evolution to it was here recently with the economic issues, watching silver and gold grow from where I first saw it at, $1,100 an ounce for gold 2 decades ago, a decade and a half ago. And then so I finally bit the bullet, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and bought a Silver Eagle for $23.
Okay. What's it? Silver what?
Silver Eagle. This is an American silver dollar.
Okay.
It's got Lady Liberty on one side and an eagle on the other. It's a .999 fine.
What year was that made?
I don't know the year that the first one I bought. I maybe should. I've got a handful of them now.
Okay. What's the difference between like that one you have and then like today's silver dollars?
Those are all pretty much the same. It just depends on collector value, year, and those are some things I don't really pay attention to or ascribe to. It's called numismatic value or a numitist. You might be a numitist if you're collecting a silver or gold coin for value beyond its gold or silver content.
Okay.
And
a numitist?
Numitist.
Okay.
Or numismatic value.
Yeah.
It's this one's really rare because they melted all these coins in this decade and there's only a few of them left. And so this coin is worth, $90 in silver. Yeah. However, to a collector, it's worth $3,000. Yeah. It's worth $10,000. This gold coin might be worth, $4,800 in gold, today's price-ish, in gold, but to the collector, it might be worth 10, 15, 20 grand, depending on maybe more, maybe less.
It's just I got you. It's just like baseball cards or anything else. It's just the less you have of something, the more it's worth. Yeah.
To me, that's it's made up. It's fictitious,
right? Yeah.
And the same goes for Bitcoin. It's an algorithm that a computer solves. Well, these computers get faster. Quantum computing happens to be injecting itself into this. So where's that going? We're seeing it slide right now today. Back to stores of wealth. Since purchasing that first coin of $23, I bought a couple at 34, and as the value's going up, 63, I'd set them aside, write it on there, the amount. I had an older gentleman, much more wise and senior than I. We got talking about paper currency versus gold and silver and collecting and it being a store of value. And he asked me this question. He said, how long is this money that you everybody else collects and considers, myself included, these greenbacks, these dollar bills, how long has that paper money been actual money?
Yeah.
So I don't know, thousands of years. Thinking back to treasury notes and things, Middle Ages, Renaissance, and further back even. And he said, no, think again. What do you mean? 1971. Our U.S. dollar has been only in existence since 1971. And statistics, history show that every other paper currency that has not been backed by gold and silver has eventually failed.
Yeah.
It was like a hair blowback moment for me. Like, I think in like Christopher in Back to the Future.
Yeah. Don't get me started on Back to the Future.
I know. I brought it up.
Well, good.
So he said, however, the silver coin has been money for thousands of years.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7,000 years. You go look at the literal translation of money in a lot of other languages across the world. It's silver.
Yeah.
Silver is money. Money is silver.
It's more durable.
More durable.
Yeah.
It always has been.
Yeah.
There's some mining ratios now that I'm understanding this a little better where, they think there's a standard amount of gold to silver on this planet, and that may not be true.
Yeah.
And you hear numbers 7 to 1, 17 to 1 over the years, 16 to 1, 17 to 1. I think it's been the big number that going back to the 1600s even that they used.
So you're saying there's more? Say that again. There's a ratio.
Yeah, there's more gold to silver, or sorry, less gold to silver on the planet.
Okay, and that's why gold's more valuable, essentially, because there's less of. Okay, okay.
Now again, that is, who puts the value on things?
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
In our own individual lives, as a society, we just agree that these are the rules.
Uh-huh.
They're not necessarily always God's rules or this person's rules or this individual's rules or this group of people's rules, but there's some societal rules we all kind of ascribe to because we believe them to be true.
Yeah.
Or we say it's okay. Or we'll agree to agree on this.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so understanding that and having sat on some money in savings before, I looked at the value of money going up faster than, silver and gold going up faster than the stock market. Yet money with the interest attached to it is kind of deflated.
Yeah.
And my money never grew like silver or gold did, like my friend's pile did,
Yeah.
even if he just kept a tiny little collection.
Yep.
And what he told me was, Wayne, whenever I need to go buy a new truck or car, there's something I want to buy, I reach into the bag of safe or go to the safety deposit box. I wouldn't advise anybody keeping it at home. Or all in a safety deposit box. And I'm not a financial planner or anything of the sorts. This is just my fascination here and my new study / hobby.
Yeah.
And so I've been, looking at this, I thought, okay, my money never grew to the degree that this silver and gold has over the last few years, even the last few decades. And with technology, silver is becoming more and more sought after. It's in everything, all the contacts in our keyboards, in our TVs, camera equipment. All of this has silver in it.
Yeah, I didn't think
there
about
is silver in probably your wife's yoga pants.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Silver ionized particles to help eat antimicrobial bacteria. And they put it in hunting gear. They put it in scent sprays for hunters.
Okay.
It's a disposable. And to that degree, it's become disposable. How much longer will that last?
I never even think about what
So it's got healing properties in it too.
Yeah.
And this is I haven't gone quite down this rabbit hole or very far.
Keep going. Take us down. I'm like Alice in Wonderland right now, man. Take me down the rabbit hole. You piqued my interest. Yeah.
Well, there's people that to the degree, and I'm not one of these at the moment, and I don't know that I ever will be. They take colloidal silver. So it's a drinkable silver.
Yeah.
To help positively charge your body.
Okay.
So that it's really hard for bacteria or negatively charged particles, free radicals and things like that to live or grow in you. And so again, I haven't made it very far down this rabbit hole. This is a new fascination of mine really within a year and a half ago when I started collecting a coin here and there. Whenever I had, 20, 30, 40 bucks, like I'm going to go blow this on something dumb or go out to eat for 40, 50 bucks and I don't need to do that. Let me go buy a coin.
Yeah.
Let me go buy a couple silver dimes. And I've been following people. So whether it was real estate or crypto or any other thing that you want to get into, growing a business, being an entrepreneur, being really healthy and fit, being a better mom, being a better dad. I was taught early on, go look at somebody that's doing that at a really high level. Don't necessarily put them on a pedestal. Look at what they're doing at a high level and take from it, learn from it, make it your own. And then eventually when you get good at it, then you'll add your flavor. You'll add your own version of it. You may adopt some new things, practices. You may take on something else from somebody else's. And that's a synthesis of ideas. And that's something we're really great at as humans, is taking all these different ideas, one here, and bringing them together and making it our own. So that's all I'm doing with silver here, is I've kind of made it my own. In my own way, I'm enjoying it. It's been a fun hobby, a fascination. I'm asking all these questions, old timers, other people that have been collecting, or so I'm just grabbing some little jewelry here and there, things that are a couple dollars as I'm picking on a vintage shop or a antique shop on the weekend. I'm taking my daughter to do the same thing.
So in your mind, to help me out, so in your mind as a speculator, and you're pointing out all these things that silver is in, right? Which I didn't even think about. And knowing the way the world's moving with all the technology, you're saying we're going to have more of a need for silver. Yeah. So do you, in turn, think that silver, this is probably the dumbest question ever, could maybe flip gold because we're using so much of it that it would limit the supply to be less?
I mean, there's conversations around that. I don't know that it'll happen that way, and I would Speculator is an interesting term.
I feel like gold's more prestigious always. Has the better address, right?
So it does,
Yeah,
and they call silver the poor man's gold.
yeah,
Because the more common people can grab a little bit of it, whereas
Yeah.
to go grab a gold coin, a 1 ounce gold coin, is going to cost you almost $5,000.
yeah,
Even the little tiny chip, is going to cost you almost $200.
yeah,
And so, 1 gram looks like a little SD card.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you $200
Yeah.
today. When I was in real estate, speculating, looking for the next market was pretty popular. It could be advantageous and very, especially financially lucrative at
Yeah.
times. Here, I'm just watching trends. I'm watching a pattern of growth, and I've watched silver be suppressed over the years when it had some booms. We're in a different age of technology where it is needed.
yeah,
So it's kind of just watching a trend. It's
Yeah.
watching a trend line, go. And I'm also listening to, so, I bookend my day with a little bit of learning and growth and things that I love. So it's always fun to get up and fun to kind of wind down the
Yeah.
night. And that's a combination of any number of things, reading or podcasts, interviews, documentaries.
Yeah.
And so, waking up or going to sleep or listening to some talks around this and discussions around it is just where I'm just gathering information because I don't know right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I don't know, like most things, I don't know. And always the student, sometimes the teacher is a fun philosophy to me. So this is a new fascination in life. And maybe I'll back up and ask you this and flip it and ask you this. Why do you think everybody else thinks silver is so hot? Is it the same reason I think it's hot? And maybe that's a loaded question. Or
I think you might have given me my answer before I even thought about it. And that's why I asked you to pick your brain about silver, because I am hearing a lot more about it today, and you're somebody who has a lot of knowledge about it.
as soon as it gets in the mainstream media, I think everybody's gonna be grabbing it real quick.
But I think you pointing out that how much silver is in our everyday life, even to the fact that you drink it, right?
You can,
You can.
colloidal silver.
Yeah, and I think that with the way technology is moving, and I'm one that's always speculating. All my money's in big tech. Like, that's where I like. I mean, I'm a futurist.
It's a fair bet.
Yeah. So anyhow, now I wouldn't say all my money's in big tech, but a good portion of it. I enjoy I enjoy technology. But I think that would what you said would be my answer. It sounds like there's going to be there's less of it because we're using it so much. Here's a weird question. So you're saying this is crazy. So you can use silver for the energy purposes, right? Right? So if you're giving that energy back out, do you think the world could absorb that energy and create more silver from the energy we give back off from the silver? Like almost like the photosynthesis from the rain, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that sounds really stupid, really
Maybe. I mean, I read an article yesterday that smashing protons together removed 3 from lead to make it gold.
Yeah.
And so all these alchemists, the philosopher's stones, looking for an alchemical way to change, lead to silver or gold has been a fascination, over millennia,
Yeah.
thousands of years. And here we did it through an atomic, process. It was a byproduct. It was like micrograms, I think, on so.
Well, I mean, in the thought that
maybe it is possible.
I mean, the thought that we all come from energy.
We all are, yeah.
All of this physical world we see had to come from some form of energy, no matter what you believe that energy is. So I don't know. That was a really dumb question, but I just was thinking about it. I was like, well, I don't know, man. If people are using it for its, for energy and to give them, more of a life force, it's like, I don't know. Could that essentially reproduce? I don't know.
Or to change the polarity of things around them, the ions, as I understand it, are positively charged. And so, I've seen silver hand bars where you leave it there instead of using soap and water, using the silver as an antimicrobial. I don't know the science. I haven't looked into the science of that. I just ran into that at an antique store the other day.
Okay.
And so I said, what's that for? And they said, oh, it's to wash your hands. And it was on a soap dish.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Let me Hansel and Gretel back, because I kind of cut you off with a question. You were going into talking about your daughter, and I feel like there was some relation there you were trying to make. You'd mentioned your daughter for something as you were talking about silver, and I didn't know if it was.
I mean, she's my life, and
I didn't know if there was some correlation to that. Like,
I mean, I'm, we're we're creators. We all create our own little world. We create worlds together.
Yeah.
And so building a world and a life for her, for us, and the people around us, and something to hand off to her.
Yeah.
You know, instead of paper just sitting there, if I've got $5 or $10 and I see a cool set of sterling earrings, and, you know, at an antique store, and she just got her ears pierced last year, so, you know, I'm going to get them for her. And yeah, maybe I'll tuck them away till she's 13 or 12, or let her wear them on special occasions. It's been fun. It's been something to think of. It's expanded my thinking as far as a store of energy, because back to the conversation with this old man, most paper currencies don't last 50, 70 years, 100 years.
Yeah.
Inflation and deflation cause these monetary systems to go up, especially when they're not gold and silver backed.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a doom and gloom scenario that most people don't want to talk about. It's not a fun scenario or conversation to have. And fear is not a place that I intend to live in. Yeah, just understanding that, okay, with that awareness now comes power, you know, and with power comes responsibility.
Yeah.
And so now that I know that, am I going to go sit my paper in a bank, you know, that could freeze it, could say you can't use it, and just, you know, let it accrue at a quarter or half or whatever percent interest that they're willing to pay me? Or am I going to go put it to work?
Yeah.
Well, before, maybe that was in a rental house. I was, you know, into the real estate business and buying ads and leads or investing in people so that we could all do more. Right now, it just happens to be a fun hobby in silver. Okay, let me go put some in silver. That's been going up in value. The coin I bought for $23 sells for $105 today.
Yeah.
And that was a year and a half ago. I don't think we're in unprecedented times that we may not see again. That happened in real estate when I got into it in 2005, 6, 7, and then poof.
Yeah.
You know, everybody lost their shirt. And one of the older gentlemen, I've been picking his brain, a different one than I just mentioned. He came from finance banking and from real estate as well. And look, when I sit down and have these conversations with other people that are older, wiser, been around longer than me, they have some knowledge that makes sense. It's very logical.
I think also in knowing you and me, and you know, I'm like this as well. I think there's a lot of freedom in owning silver for you. Does that make any sense? Because in don't get me wrong, I sell commercial real estate. I don't want people to quit buying commercial real estate, but I think one of the things that we hear a lot is, you know, there's so much financial freedom in real estate, right? And there's so much, you know, it's passive. And the thing is, I'm like, the people who are saying that, not the financial freedom aspect of it, because I get if you can get through the challenging times, it can lead to financial freedom. But people often say that real estate is passive, right? And I'm like, no, real estate is a lot of work. And until you get through those challenging times, there's not a lot of financial freedom in it. And the only reason I mention that is because you're a slave to that debt. Yeah. You are a slave to the debt. And if you don't think so, I have a lot of landlords that I can use as examples as they're slaves to the debt.
Or you're a slave to the system, even if you have the debt paid off and you own your rentals outright. I know some people like that. They're a slave to the system that they've built. You know, whether it's the employees that they have that aren't.
That's a great point, too.
Or their time and schedule that they give it, or, you know.
That's a great point, too, because they're so accustomed to making their income from those paid off rentals. And it's like, okay, I lost the tenant. Now I got to go fill that back up. So you're right. Even if the debt service is paid up, you know.
And that might be a living at their means and, you know, issue.
That's a great point. But I think it's work. And I think there is that narrative needs to be interjected more into the conversation. And I know people want to sell. I want to sell real estate, but I don't think people are always giving, especially new investors, especially today's influencers and young businessmen who are out there on social media, really pumping it because they're trying to sell. And I don't think they're giving everybody the full story. And I don't know if it's because they're being programmed to say that. I'm sure they are, or they actually believe that themselves because they haven't been in the game long enough. And no offense to anybody out there, but that's what you see the majority of when you see real estate in our world today. Passive income, financial freedom. I'm like, dude, there's a lot of work in real estate.
Well, they sell the image, and that emotionally will hook the people, right?
Yeah.
The hard work. So I always use this. I like to use this iceberg analogy, and this works perfect for this instance, right? They show you the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
That's above water. That's safe. That's you can anchor and climb onto.
Yeah.
They don't show you the hard work underneath.
Yeah.
Underneath the surface, all of the extra 90% of the iceberg that supports the tippy top.
Yeah.
That you can float on and survive on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's with anything. You see it in I see it on YouTube, anywhere.
It's a really good analogy, man.
You get these flashy titles, it's clickbait, it's sensationalism. And I get called on it sometimes. I'm like, oh, that's okay. What is that about?
Yeah.
5 minutes into it, I'm like, oh, it's nothing. Like,
Yeah.
they hooked me because of this. And then, maybe I could decide whether I stay or go.
Yeah.
Who's going to, if I said, Matt, you can have all that. You can have millions. You can have passive income. It might take you a few years, though, to get there. 50, 60-hour nights, scrounging looking for that really good deal. There's a good deal this is Dolph Del Roos.
Yeah.
There's a deal of a lifetime every week. You just got to go look for it.
Yeah.
And so, putting on the boots every day, doing the do. It's, be, do, have. You got to be who you're going to be or who you intend to be to then have those things, to earn the right to have those things. And do those things to then earn the right to have them, right?
Yeah.
And so, back to your point, it's you see that, and
I'm not trying to deter people from work,
right?
And I just want people to understand you can't just buy these things and sit back. You have to work them,
right.
And if not,
and the same goes for silver or gold. So to that point or analogy and maybe comparison to real estate, you can go park your gold and silver, and there's plenty of people that do, and probably the majority of them do. Don't touch it other than to pull it out and look at it every once in a while, maybe count it. I don't know. And then there's a whole nother group I'm learning that I think this is maybe where I'm aspiring to, is to have enough that you can borrow against it. I didn't know you could do that until somewhat recently.
Really?
Like equity in your home.
Yeah.
You could go park $50,000, $100,000 of gold and silver at SD Bullion, and they'll give you a loan on it. You can go buy an Airbnb, use that equity or use the rental income on the Airbnb to pay off your gold and silver, and you now own both for free.
Really?
This is how the rich get richer.
Yeah.
And when you start studying things like this, and that's the whole reason I got into real estate and now out of real estate and into coaching.
Where do you predominantly, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just coaching and investing in people, systems, ideas, impact, and
I can hear the coach coming out here. You're like, see, have, do, right? There's the coach. There's Wayne. Speaking of coaching, Wayne is, I don't know, I'm sure we have talked about this to some extent, but if not, we'll always reiterate it. Nothing like a cheap plug. Wayne is a life coach, been doing it for how long?
2.5 years now.
2.5 years.
I've been coaching for going on 10 years, specifically on my own in this realm or field. 2.5 years. So
back to silver. Where do you typically buy like your silver? Like, do you go to like estate sales? Do you go to antique stores? I mean, you mentioned antique stores.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm a huge fan of antique stores right now because you've been in my little bar room. Mm-hmm. I love that like early century feel.
I love little glass bottles. So they get me.
I'm like obsessed with older vintage stuff, and I like mixing in the old with the new. Mm-hmm. There's a scene, and I think. I'm all about contrast. Everything contrast, which I'm not really contrasting too hard today, but I love contrasting. I love mixing. It goes back to the music conversation. Mm-hmm. I love mixing genres and figuring out how to make it all work and right. But there's a scene in Back to the Future 3 where he wakes up in Doc's like living room or family room or whatever in the lab, and he has the hover. He's like falling asleep, but he's resting his feet on the hoverboard, which is hovering. Mm-hmm. And he's in 1950, right? So he's in 1955 with this like futuristic looking skateboard or hoverboard. And I don't know what it is, but the whole like just contrast of like that modern image mixed with that vintage image. Mm-hmm. And I really try to bring that into my world. Mm-hmm. So like I said, you go in my bar room, you see all this old stuff, but if you look at the quotes I have on the wall, they're from like modern day, like poets. They're from our artists, like our rappers, our rock and roll guy. They're us. I think I even have one of Gonzo from the Muppet Babies on there, or Muppets on there with a quote. But that
was a nickname of mine.
Gonzo.
For a while.
Oh, dude, I'm obsessed with Gonzo. Yeah, I'm sure. I probably somewhere along the line was the same way because we share the big noses. But anyhow, so what I was going with the antique stores is. I'm a home goods guy. I love home goods. I'm such a what do they call it? Metro, I guess, or you know what I mean? Like, I love home goods. I always say, like, I'm probably one of the few guys who'd rather go to Home Goods than Lowe's, right?
Like your cozy, comfy feel.
Yeah. But lately, I've been going to antique stores because I've found that you can also get better product at the antique stores. I mean, those things back in the day were built to last. There's no value in built to last anymore. There's value in built to fail, so you can buy new stuff. And then eventually, I think we're going to be buying like subscriptions. Subscribe to, your refrigerator, just like your phone.
Yeah.
Basically, we just rent a phone. Pretty soon, we're going to be renting a refrigerator and a
subscription-based reality.
Yeah, but anyhow, so you go to antique stores. Is that where you're getting your silver? Or?
The bulk of it now, I do go to antique stores, mostly for the jewelry.
Yeah.
And I look for little pieces, thimbles for my mom and daughter. They don't know this unless they're watching now. I've got a little trove of those going, little tiny spoons, some bigger sterling, if I can get it at a decent price. It's gone up now to maybe make jewelry down the road and just stocking it away.
Is that something you want to get into, is making jewelry?
Yeah, I used to draw and paint a ton as a kid. I've got a portfolio. Anyway,
I could see you being a badass.
I got into architecture, which led me into engineering, which led me into city planning.
Yeah.
Yet one of the alternative plans was I was thinking of art school.
Yeah.
And so it's my daughter and I. We draw. We color a lot together. And so making jewelry, when I've come across some spoon rings that are really neat, and some other antique plated jewelry, silver plated jewelry that's been made into bangles and dangly earrings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought that could be a fun hobby to make jewelry for my daughter to wear or people to wear. And if not, in the meantime, it's a store of value. It's silver. It's going to go up.
Yeah.
So a funny story, the only counterfeit coin, at least that I know I've purchased, was at an antique store.
Really?
Luckily, the guy gave me my money back. He was honest. He said, I didn't test this. It came in a little package. It was a good deal, so I bought it. It was out of a little locked case at an antique store up in Delaware, and he made it right. There was value in it, so I was going to go flip it for a coin I really wanted, and that was pure 599 3 nines silver. And when I took it to that place, that coin shop, they put it on their XR fluorescence machine to test it, the content of it. And they were very polite. They're like, we don't want this. No, it's not real.
Yeah.
And it was a gorgeous coin, Marshall Islands coin.
But you knew it's not real when you went to trade it. You knew it wasn't real when you went to trade it, or no?
No, I bought it out of an antique store, out of a locked case. And
the only reason I asked you that's because I was going to actually ask another question, and I want to make sure you didn't answer it before I asked the question.
Okay.
But do you think there could be not more value, but a lot of value in some counterfeit coins that maybe came from a generation where they don't, like, you know what I mean? It could be this is a counterfeit coin that they used back in 1923 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but it's rare because it's not around.
Yeah, I saw 2 quarters the other day at an antique store. The guy owns the antique store said, hey, look at this. He knows what I'm into. And he's like, check this out. I've never seen one of these. He had 2 quarters in a case. So the short answer is probably not, because it's not worth, the silver and gold's worth so much now that, but there might be some value.
I don't mean it from a material standpoint. I mean
like numismatist.
Exactly.
Numismatic value.
Yeah,
possibly. And I don't know any examples. May get some comments on here of people, informing us of, here's some real examples. What I did see the other day is 2 examples of the same coin kind of done 2 ways. And it had some value to the collector.
Yeah.
Not much, not as much as silver gold, like $30 a coin. Okay?
Yeah.
So it was a quarter, and both sides had head. Or this one quarter, both sides were heads.
Yeah.
And this second quarter, both sides were tails.
Oh shit.
So if you flip them, you always had a heads and a tails. You never had 2 heads. You never had 2 tails.
Yeah.
So if you were trying to dupe somebody, or for a magician, I don't know where they came from. He didn't know where they came from.
Just swap them out.
He does big lot finds, like storage containers, storage units, and stuff like that. And apparently, a lot of these antique stores do that.
Yeah.
And so, I bought online. That right now it seems I wouldn't recommend it, given the kind of the state of things. That things are on delay, 2-3 weeks delay, and I don't buy any digital currency because I don't. It's fake to me.
Yeah.
It's fictitious. If I can't touch it, it's not real. And that was the whole one of the major reasons for getting into real estate is it's a store of value. I can always have this land. I can always have this property, the building on it, as long as I maintain it, etc. So where I'm buying them the most are LCSs, local coin shops.
Yeah.
A Robinsons, or even pawn shops. Pawn shops right now have been pretty fair, and you don't have to pay for shipping. You don't have to wait 2-3 weeks for it to get here. I ordered something weeks ago that's supposed to be here tomorrow.
My son's friend is going to love this episode.
Oh,
if
cool.
he sees it. He's a big coin collector. He's been doing it for a while. His dad got him into trading, and he goes to Robinsons to trade his coins. And at first I was like, that's kind of odd for a young man who's he was essentially probably 8 or 9 trading coins. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, I used to kind of do the same thing with baseball cards, and it taught me a lot about economics. Yeah, it taught me a lot about economics and the value of trading, and buying low, selling high, a lot of those things. Give me some. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, you were talking about Robinsons and
no. So I think I've covered the gamut from private seller to Robinsons to local coin shops to online. I've kind of been trying them all out. Antique stores. I don't find a whole lot of deals there. Robinsons, it's been pretty fair. I guess I maybe sell them the most and then buy the most from a local coin shop or a private seller.
Yeah.
And the older generation, I'm finding those in their 70s and 80s that have been doing this for 30, 50 years are kind of excited to see some young people, or at least a younger version of them maybe, come in and talk to them.
You know who I want to introduce you to? And I'm going to name drop him. Kyle Bounds. Do you know Kyle?
Yeah.
You have to know Kyle Bounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't have to introduce you. You already know him.
I bought jewelry from him. He sold jewelry for me.
Yeah, that's
it's
my
been
guy,
some
man.
years.
Yeah.
And since I've gotten into this or taken a keen interest to it, I haven't had any conversations with him, and especially on this topic.
He is a big collector of things, and he's very much into the value of metals. And this is, I buy a lot of jewelry from I don't know if I say a lot, but I enjoy buying jewelry for my wife. Number one, I think jewelry's special. It has more of a special meaning to it. It's a little more sentimental, and women love jewelry, right? And number two, it's
can be emotional.
Number two, it's also easier. I call it the lazy man's gift.
Because I trust she already knows this, or isn't.
No. We've had this conversation, but I do enjoy. I mean, I love like women's like accessories anyhow. Like I'm a sucker for some earrings, for some pumps. Like I'm always like that. Like Jen takes
What do you think? Why do you think that is, or how come?
I don't know. I mean, it's funny because my mom's not like that. You know what I mean? My dad was like that. My dad would go. He did more shopping for my mom. We would go to the mall during Christmas, and I spent a lot of time with him. He spent time picking out things that he thought my mom would like and things like that. So I probably picked up a lot of that from him.
Patterning or conditioning, or maybe it's how you value or see. You value that on a woman, or it becomes part of.
Yeah, and I mean, and people like when you notice little things, and accessories are the little things, But I don't know. I enjoy it. I think I enjoy the art of it. Like I enjoy the art of the style. Like I dress up. I'm not dressed up today, but I'm still probably one of the few guys that still dresses up to go to the office. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm still. I'm not full suited every day, but I enjoy
You're
it.
dapper.
Yeah. People are like, why are you still dressed?
A lot different than my everyday fits.
People are like, why are you still dressed up, man? Some people, I always get what do you think you're better than us? You got to wear a certain tie. I'm like, I don't do it for that though. I do it for the art.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy picking out. The tie and what tie mat could blend with that, or what pattern mixes well. And
let me ask you this: when you put it on, when you put that good fitting suit, tie, French cufflinks on, etc.
That's my armor, bro.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go to battle. But go ahead.
What happens to your shoulders when you put them on?
What happens to my shoulder? Oh, I'm sitting up a little more. I'm forced to sit up better. You're right, because I can't slouch. I look like,
You open the chest. You're ready to face the world.
Yeah. I look like the middle school science teacher. If not, dude, especially nowadays with my belly. My God, I don't know where that came from. But, yeah.
I do.
All right, man. Come on now. Come on, Wayne. You're supposed to be nice, man. Come on. Oh. Whoa. I don't know what just happened. We hit something there. Oh, okay. No, dude, you just hit us with the Fonz. Oh, I don't know if you're in the studio with us, but Wayne literally just hit us with the Fonz. He hits a couple hays, and then some Stone Temple Pilots came on. I think was there.
It's all energy. It did sound like some Stone Temple
It was.
Pilots.
The silver came out of his hands, and I don't know, put some STP on. But anyhow,
that was wild.
That
cool.
was pretty wild. I don't know if you guys will hear it, but somehow something just came on through our microphones. But anyhow, let me get back to it. So what I was saying, the lazy man's gift, jewelry is like. You could spend so much time thinking about what do I buy this and then you could buy a whole bunch of little random shit. And don't get me wrong, man. I love some stocking stuffers, man. I love accessories. I love the makeup and little different things like that for stocking stuffers. But you could buy a nice piece of jewelry, something that's gonna last, something that's gonna hand down. There's a story behind it, and not that gifts always have to be monetary, but you could essentially drop your budget on one big gift, and that usually satisfies. I don't know. Yeah. I was gonna say usually satisfies a woman, but all women are different. We never know what. But either way, we won't go down that today. It's funny, real quick. When I worked in New York, right? Mm-hmm. I worked in New York on 85 Broad and One New York Plaza, and I was like a project manager who somehow, I have no idea because I didn't know shit about construction at the time, I wound up in this job. But it was really cool because I worked on all these big buildings, down in the financial district, right? And these guys were sitting around one day, all these like contractors. I mean, they knew their shit. Like they're the best contractors in the world up there, right? Mm-hmm. And the one guy sitting up there, he's like, "Man, come on, man, that's not exactly rocket science." You know what I mean? And the other guy's like, "What do rocket scientists say?" The other guy's like, "Rocket scientists? Rocket scientists say that's not exactly talking to women." And I was like, "It's fucking gold, man." Like, so that's what rocket scientists say. It's not exactly talking to women. All right, so let's go back. Right?
I would literally love to hear from a rocket scientist now.
Yeah.
I bet you they do.
Yeah, it's the fucking truth. But anyhow, I feel like I'm teetering on getting myself in trouble, so I'm going to digress before I get any further into that. I get myself in enough trouble, bro. I don't need any more. No, but anyhow, so we'll go back to the silver conversation and so buying jewelry, jewelry essentially, and that's why I brought up Kyle's name, because every time I go into his store to get Jen some jewelry, he always talks about the value, of, how it's going to hold up over time, so I didn't know what, your thoughts are. Would you rather hold silver like in jewelry form, or would you rather hold it like in just I don't know, like a block form or whatever? Yes. Okay. Yes. I like that quick answer.
Yes.
So what's your preferred jewelry?
So I actually got away from jewelry for a long time for a number of reasons. And, part of it, is my identity, ego, this and that. Recently put some back on. Meaningful pieces to me.
Yeah.
They don't mean anything to anybody else.
Yeah.
This sterling might have some value to somebody if they melted it and melted it. And same for this. And the reason I started wearing this, though, was very synchronistic. I win a online bid on a Coptic cross, and having gone full-blown atheist and kind of back to a follower, believer of Christ consciousness.
I was going to say, yeah. That's I don't mean to cut you off. That's a conversation
that might be a whole episode.
Because you have gone from, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you've really found yourself.
It's been a fun journey, and I had to go there.
Yeah, I don't think you could have got. That's what I was going to say. Go ahead.
No, I had to go there to get
You
here.
said exactly what I was going to say in less words. Yeah, but go ahead.
And so, just been following these fun little synchronistic paths here lately, and silver being one of them. And, even just the stories, talking about jewelry and the stories, and yes to all of that. It's a store of value. So if you're working as an employee or a sole proprietor, entrepreneur, small business owner, and you're trading all your time, all your energy, all your blood, sweat, and tears for green bills, where are you going to put them? So you're storing that energy. You might go spend it. You might go spend it on a mortgage, so you're sticking it in your house. You might go pay a car payment, so you're investing it in that car. You might be paying tuition, so you're investing in your kid. You might be investing in all these stocks, crypto, et cetera.
Yeah.
So where are you putting it? If you're just going to hold on to it, I'm a believer in go buy silver or gold.
Yeah.
If talking about telling the young people, you don't want to tell them don't go hustle. Well, go find something you're passionate about, and then go make some value. Deliver some value and get some money in return, and then go invest that in real estate and gold and silver.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan now, since selling my rentals. I'm a big fan of gold and silver as a store of value, even in jewelry. However that comes about, something that speaks to you, that's meaningful. I'd been saying, I don't know if I'll wear a cross again. It's an interest, but none of them really speak to me. And then I saw this. I said, I'm going to bid on that. If I ever wore a cross again, it would look like that.
Where'd you bid on it?
On Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
And she's, finally got back to me and said, okay, I think it'd be yours. And I asked her if I could test it, if I could test the silver. And she said, okay. Well, when I got there, and she didn't want me to test it.
So you bring a tester with you?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that look like?
So it's a stone and acid is one method.
Okay.
There's little pingers and digital devices you can buy, and so I wanted to scratch it and test it for silver.
Yeah.
And I instantly got reprimanded, lectured about the value of it being way more than silver. And they're apparently relics that are sought after because they're one-offs. None of them are the same. She lived in Egypt for a long time and bought this Ethiopian Coptic cross when she was over there. And I guess what makes it special to me is the lattice work around it.
Okay.
It symbolizes never-ending life. Energy can never be created nor destroyed.
Really? That lattice work is simple.
Lattice work. You can barely see it.
Did you know? So is that what drew you to the piece?
Yeah, I knew a little bit about, it comes from a very Orthodox Christian sect.
Okay.
That's somewhat, very old school, compared to our modern structure of religion, if you will.
And I always appreciate your comments. I don't mean to get back on that subject because I do want to do more of an episode on that, but I always appreciate your comments on theology and philosophy because you have gone... You've entertained other things. You know what I mean? You haven't just sat there and said, no, this is what I've been taught. This is the way it is. I'm just going to follow this path. You've gone down all these other paths and questioned to a degree where you didn't believe and then turn around and came all the way back. And I always tell people, man, like the more you question, the stronger your faith will get. Don't let anybody deter you from questioning. So anyhow, go ahead. That's why one of the things I appreciate about you, but go ahead.
I appreciate that. And thank you for that compliment. And that's, if there's any advice I could ever give anybody, especially unsolicited, is just question everything.
100%.
Stay curious. And
tree your mind, bitches.
Tree your mind. Tree your mind.
Go ahead.
And so, to answer your question, should it be in bars? Should it be in jewelry? I think whatever speaks to you, whatever's fun and gets you doing it, it's really hard to get excited for some people, or maybe even a lot of people, to get excited about collecting dollars and just sticking the dollars aside, stacking them away for an investment. So, making your money work for itself, making your money make money, and putting it somewhere that's going to make it more than a low interest bearing account or something that's less liquid or you can't touch is not of interest to mine. So here we are with silver and gold.
Does it make it? Because obviously, it sounds like you've been using it to fund some of your life to a degrry, right? I mean,
I'm not that big of a collector yet. That's the aspiration. That I can borrow against it here in the future as like a home equity loan.
Well, I guess but what I heard you one day say, I got to do this and I need to go sell some of that. But are you selling it to buy more? Are you selling it to buy more gold or silver, or are you selling it to fund projects or pay for whatever dinner? You know what I mean?
No. So my grandfather taught me something that sticks to me to this day, and he said the difference. He was quick background. He was a truck driver and he farmed on the side, soybeans and winter wheat.
Yeah.
He had like a 45-acre farm he tilled 16 acres of it, I think. And so he lived very close to the ground. And he and my grandmother spent so much time in church. I thought they were dirt poor. He was not poor at all. He was rich in spirit. And that to me now is more fascinating and beautiful than anything. Yeah. He was a free man. He worked for himself. But he taught our whole family, which I think we're starting to learn and understand now that he's gone. Never sell your principal.
Okay.
So whatever your base is, never get rid of it.
Yeah, I love that.
And so, it may make some money you can spend that money. And hopefully you reinvest some of it back. You maybe spend some on the bills that you get by or whatever, and you reinvest back, and then the base grows. Mm-hmm. You go from 1 rental to 2 rentals to 4 rentals. Next thing you know, you're buying a small portfolio and you've got 20. Yeah. The first one's the hardest one to get, right?
You're right, yeah.
That first coin was the hardest one to get. To get my mental head wrapped around, I should go spend $20-some on a piece of silver that's just going to sit there forever. Yeah. That's the plan, or pass it off to my daughter, my, people when I'm gone, or use it in the meantime and then do so.
It's like going to the gym. Half the battle is just getting there.
Yeah. You don't see the results right away. Yeah. You might feel there's a little high with the endorphins or whatever in the gym, or the same thing, the serotonin, the rush of buying the piece of silver that fades fast. Yeah. Just like the new watch. You get the new watch. It's fascinating for couple days, couple weeks, and you're hoping everybody sees it and makes comments on it so you get validated.
Patience is the greatest superpower in building wealth. And unfortunately, I think we live in a society, and it's not just the new generation, but even everybody.
We both fall in some,
I think like people just don't have patience. Even like you can tell if you play cards with people a lot of times, especially like Texas Hold'em, because that's a very it has probably a little more element of skill than a lot of games. That I'm not trying to make this about poker or anything like that, but you can see the way people think about life when they're playing that game, because the smart players, they're going to pick and choose their battles. They're willing to fold. They're willing to sit there and play the long game and be patient, knowing that if they just wait it out, they're going to catch that hand, and their time they've put in is going to equate to that in chips eventually, because they're going to get the hand and they're going to get paid, especially if there's 12 people at the table, because there's somebody going to buy into that, right? But then you got people who are like, I can't sit here any longer. I just want to make a move and hope I get lucky, and then they push in and then they lose all their chips because they tried to shortcut it. You can't shortcut the game. And that's like that, just patience in general. I really feel like this generation is going to lack patience a lot, because it's everything. They want everything right now. But,
where did that come from?
I think just the more and more content, the more and more technology, things are accessible. Things are just becoming easier, to obtain things, right? Essentially.
So I look at it a little differently. Like, those are accessories, right?
Yeah.
Those are additives to the formula. They're, they got it from us.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's a great point. Yeah.
We taught them that,
Yeah.
and we learned it from our parents. And not to put anything on anybody. There's no blame here.
No, you're
just
spot on.
is.
Yeah.
It just is. It's not good or bad. It just is. So let's not push blame anywhere on any generation or any sect of society.
100% right.
We've all agreed to this.
Yeah.
I think more and more people are saying, I don't agree to this anymore.
Yeah.
What is more? What do you want for? So this is a question I asked myself, and I've asked only a few friends, and I think I'd like to ask more people, and maybe this is the platform to do so.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
What do I want for my kid? What do I want for my nieces? What do I want for our kids? What do you want for your kids?
It's funny. The answer everybody's going to give you is more. Everybody always says more.
Right.
But why?
Why?
Why can't they learn that less is more? Why can't they learn that? Why do you need more?
Well,
and why does less have to be more? Why does anything have to be more?
Right.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Is more going to make them more happy? And let's park that, because the short answer is no. And there's all kinds of studies to prove that and to show that. What does more look like? And then knowing what it took you and me to get here.
Yeah.
To get more than our parents had. What is more?
Exactly.
At what cost? And then what's it going to take the kids? What's it going to cost the kids? What's it going to cost your boys and my daughter to get more than I have?
That's the best thing. That's the best question. At what cost?
At what cost?
Because it costs a lot to get more.
We're more broken and dysfunctional individually and as a society, arguably so, than ever before.
You're 100% right.
Than ever before.
So do you think that I think a lot of it obviously goes back to our grandparents or great grandparents, even generation, because they grew up, as the kids of the Depression essentially. So they didn't have much. So I think they learned to save.
My grandfather was a hoarder because of it.
But in turn, they wanted to give their kids more, right? And they saved to give their kids more, right? And then
a collection of junk on a farm. That
exactly.
That was more for my grandfather than he had.
And then that carried into, our parents' generation wanting to give us more. And of course, we became the most commercialized. We came the beginning of really the most commercialized. We were the ones that were, programming and the media really started to push things even more because we had so much
saw opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, they created toys, or they created cartoons to sell toys. But let's go back to the more thing. Do you even if we don't go back to the thought that maybe this came from our grandparents' generation because of the Depression?
Just came.
Do you think there's any programming there that said, I want to program society to want more because it helps, create more consumers, which in turn helps, funnel money into the people who are giving you the things that you think equal more, right?
So there's a short answer is Most likely, and you're evident. So people have egos,
Yeah.
and understanding those egos, other people have taken advantage on how to manipulate or drive these egos into emotional purchases. My first instance or awakening to this was taking a real estate class in NLP, neuro-linguistic patterning.
Okay.
We had to sign a waiver day one that we would not use this for harm. We were taught how to write scripts to inject ourselves into somebody's subconscious within a couple of words.
Yeah.
When you learn this, you start seeing it on all the TV commercials, all of the written ads in a magazine, and that's when I decided I'm done with TV. I'm going to watch the news. TV's done. None of that. I don't want the influence. Somebody planting seeds in my garden that are weed seeds, or tapping into my emotional being without my permission.
Yeah.
Or being subjected to it without, as often as could be. To the degree now that when my daughter, cracks me up. To the degree that my daughter, when she sees an ad now, we're watching something or an ad pops up, and her experience here is very limited and curated as well by me and her mom, and of course the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, though, an ad pops up, and she'll tell me and anybody else in the room, "Oh, they're just trying to get your money. They're just trying to get our money, aren't they?" That's my girl. That's my girl.
It's funny because you and I mean, we have, we're in a similar lane. I think we might have got there two different ways. Like, I studied mass media in college. I mean, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be, on journalist and, on air and anchorman. That's one of the ideas I had. So
I studied sociology, which is the effects of social populations.
So I studied mass media, and the more I studied mass media, the more I absolutely couldn't stand it. I loathed it.
Well, what did you discover that got you there?
Just it wasn't even really what I discovered. It was an actual event, right? So it was an actual project. So basically, it was probably, I don't know, my second semester or whatever, and they gave us an article, and they said, all right, we want half the class to read this article and craft a headline that would make half the population think it was this way, and the other half, we want you to read it and craft a headline that would appeal to the other side. And I was like, this is fucking dirty. Yeah. Because basically they want you to shape the truth using the facts. And it goes back to the conversation that we had an episode ago about truth manipulation.
And seeing it on different channels.
And I was like, I feel like I am being indoctrinated. I feel like they are basically prepping me and grooming me to do all their bidding. And I was like, fuck this. So literally, I transitioned from that into like TV and film, because I was like, creativity is my freedom, right? And I always had more fun with that anyhow. Yeah. So I was like, they can try to govern me for what if I was on the news or whatever, but they can't govern my creativity. Like, that's mine. No matter if it goes anywhere or not, you can't govern that shit.
That's your humanness.
Yeah, so I made it almost my mission, and it's to a fault, and to every time I see anything on the news, and I'm not saying that I'm always right, because there's a lot of times I probably am discounting some good information, that I always try to look at the other angle, and I'll, not all the time, I did it more so years ago. I haven't done it as much as I used to, but I would always try to give people on social media another viewpoint, or try to let them consider another side of what they're seeing. And part of it was because I think I had a lot of animosity towards how I was being groomed, and a lot of it had to do with my resentment towards the media, and the fact that I was really let down by what I went to college for originally. But I will say, I'm still very guilty of some of these same things, and in fact, it goes back to the tree thing, right? So it goes back to, I was telling you about, I think on the first episode, how I came up with the idea of tree, and it was the acronym for Trader Real Estate Entertainment, and I talked to my trees and all that. But there is a very major subconscious component to the whole thing, to all my branding. So I rode down the street one day, and when I was thinking of all this, and I kind of had the idea for tree and all this stuff, and I was like, man, I see billboards for all different people, and I'm like, man, how much does that billboard cost? How much does that billboard cost? How much does that billboard cost? And start adding. I was like, that's a lot of money in billboards. But then I looked around. And on those same streets, those same highways every day, there's something else. There's trees, right? So my thought was, if I go online and I do something funny or I grab your attention, at the end of it, I say, oh, and look behind me, what do you see? Trees. And every time you see a tree, you know what to think about, right? Trader, RE Entertainment, and that Matt Trader is the guy to call for commercial real estate. Because subconsciously, I want you to walk outside and look around and you look at a tree, and it's like, I can't get away from this fucking guy. You know, he's in my head because trees are everywhere. You might be reading the word tree, right? So essentially, I'm trying to hijack the word. So there is a little bit of Dr. Evil in there that I'm going to call myself out for, you know, with some subconscious marketing, you know. So I don't want to sit there and act like I'm, you know, completely
What's interesting,
completely holier than thou on that, because I do have a little bit of you know, scheme to it. But essentially, I tell everybody, look, man, my billboards are everywhere. My billboards are all over the fucking highways, and I don't pay a dime for them, you know, because they're in your mind.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Sorry about that, but
yeah.
Let's go back to silver one more time, because I think we've kind of got off the rails, and I do want you to lead us in some meditation before we get off the air. And we're kind of coming up on our studio time here for today.
So what did you have? What was that pressing or that last question that you were thinking?
No, I just like, how would you recommend somebody who's not into silver? How would you recommend them getting into it? And what type of assets that are silver based would you recommend they buy? Is it something personal? Is it something? Actually, I have one more question too.
Yeah, so I follow, you know, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It is a wealth builder. It could be a foundational piece to long-term wealth. And for me, I think this is the direction I'm going as opposed to real estate. And I'll still have some investments in real estate, not the massive portfolio I'd planned or was working on and crafting. Follow the deals. Don't buy anything that's emotional, that's super emotional. Yeah, if you like it, if it's a good deal, get it.
Because it's harder to trade?
It's harder to sell. Trade, you might pay more for it. It's not going to be a good deal.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a piece of jewelry, like, oh, that's a good deal. And I could see myself wearing that. I could see my daughter wearing that, as you know, when she's 20 or 16 or whatever.
It's hard to take that from her once you give it to her.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you covered that. So you go. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. So, you know, be careful with that. As far as, you know, buying what's called stacking or for bullion.
Yeah.
You know, coins or bars, the more you buy at one time in the bigger size, the less premium, or the premium is what the coin shop charges you on top of it, $6, $8, $10, maybe $15 now as I'm here in the online. Go follow some people that are doing it the way you like to, or have an interest and are teaching you about it, whether it's antique silver or numismatic coins. And for me, it's bullion stacking, so it's volume based. And how quickly can I get to find 999? So I buy tons of junk, what they call junk or dirty silver, which is old 90% constitutional or like old dimes, 1964 and older. Dimes and quarters, half dollars, they all have 90% silver. They're not 100% silver, so they're not fine, 999 refined.
Yeah.
However, you get enough of those, you can go trade them in for a bar or a couple of bars or some bigger coins. And so doing that and growing your stack as the deals come along would be my incrementally. You know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Where do you start? Anywhere. It's a big fucking elephant.
So do you store this over in a trunk?
Right?
My dad joke of the day, right? I had to get one in there. Yeah.
For storage sakes.
No, you don't have to do it.
No. This is important though. This is important.
Oh,
so having it in the house is, you know, maybe you want a little bit in the house to have on hand if you want to go grab and do something. Keeping a lot on hand in your house can become a you know, danger or liability, I guess.
Yeah.
So if somebody was to do that, I'd, you know, get a big safe, bolt it to the ground, yada yada.
Always got to have a safe.
Safety deposit box isn't a bad place for at least some of it. Mm-hmm. If the financial system collapses, if the bank goes under, if they want to grab your gold and silver and use it, that they have the right to now. Mm-hmm. Now that it's a precious metal, it's a commodity, it's a critical mineral, just signed into law a few weeks ago. So China is not allowing any more of their silver out. As of January 1st, 2026,
really?
They are not allowing any silver out silver can go in. So the day that I told you I was doing silver trading, I was arbitraging. So I had found some coins real cheap.
Okay.
For $50 a coin. And I found another coin shop that would buy them for $75 a coin.
Okay.
So I went and bought 6 of them, sold them all, and went back and bought 8.
Okay.
And I now had 2 more than I could have had just based on selling those.
Yeah.
Okay. So
just collecting shares.
Just collecting shares.
Yeah.
And now they make little treasure boxes that you can bury in your backyard, on your farm, wherever you want to put it, down a public dock, in the middle of a forest somewhere.
That's awesome.
That are Faraday enhanced too, so like Faraday boxes. So EMPs won't take it out if you got anything digital stored in
metal
there.
detectors won't be able to pick up on it.
Yep.
That's fucking cool,
Yep.
man. Imagine how many 3,000 years from now, if the world doesn't blow up between now and then,
or maybe if it does blow up and they're still
yeah, there's gonna be little boxes floating around the universe, and some guy's gonna ride by a little George Jetson ship, and be like, oh look, that's fucking Wade Smith's little box he buried, just floating around up there. Yeah, that's awesome.
So that and what was I gonna say? Keeping it different places is a good idea.
Yeah.
And the tangible, I'm not the ETFs, the electronically traded funds. I'm not a huge fan of. You can't grab them. They're not real. If somebody put a freeze on that transaction, you're out thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Most likely hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. So, what was the question again?
No, I was gonna ask you. Do you have a harder time trading the things that you have emotional attachment to?
Yes.
And would you recommend not doing that? And you answered that in the question.
There's 2 or 3 pieces of jewelry now that I'm like,
you read my mind.
They're chunky, they're heavy, and
Yeah.
I'm like, these are definitely gonna be my daughter's.
Yeah.
And this ring I would probably wear, but it's probably a little big for her, be a thumb ring.
Yeah.
And so there's pieces like that.
One thought I had, and I'm gonna have to get it out before you lead us in the meditation. One thought I had years ago. I actually think I did a video on this. We were talking about, would you say numinist? What did you say?
Pneumatist or numismatic.
So we were talking about things that are valuable that might not have like silver or gold.
Cards.
Yeah, baseball cards, right?
It's ink on a card.
So I had this idea that obviously when you have less of something, it's not an idea, but obviously it's when there's less of something, it's more valuable, right? Mm-hmm. So I had this idea because we've had we went through a period of so much censorship in our media, right? And I started thinking, I was like, people could essentially start controlling, our media and our digital assets to the point where, let's say, I don't know, whoever held the rights to Michael Jordan's last shot could say, I'm cutting this off. I'm buying the rights to that. YouTube can't get it. CBS can't. No other. I'm buying it. That asset, that shot from the NBA or whoever owns that. That highlight is mine. I'm the only person in the world that can watch that, right? So say that happened, just hypothetically.
It happens already.
So my thought was,
music catalogs and things like that.
How valuable would that make something like old VHS tapes, where you might have recorded that last shot or that event, Kirk Gibson hitting the home run and doing the hamstring pull around the bases, and then so how valuable do those old VHS tapes be because you own that moment? And the only way anybody else could see it in the world is if they bought it from you. I don't know. You say that happens already? That's...
Yeah, so there's a lady, I think she's passed away now. I wish I could remember her name, the documentary, I saw this. She was so fearful of history being erased and controlled that she was obsessed with it and recording every second of TV, of news.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, she had stacks of TVs, VHSs. This older black lady in I want to say the Bronx, through the 60s, 70s, 80s, up until I'm going to say she died in the early 2000s.
Well, she's not too far off, and I'm not going to get political or anything, but there are a lot of moments that people do mention from 2001 or.
She has Betamax stuff, which is late 60s, early 70s, I want to say.
There are a lot of moments that I remember from the news being in college, unless I just was way too deep in some extracurriculars that maybe I imagined, they happened. But there's a lot of moments that I'm like, no, I remember seeing that on the news. And then today's media is like, this never happened. I can't believe such and such would say this. This never. I'm like, no, I remember this.
Have you heard of the Mandela effect?
Then you go look for it. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Some people would argue that's what happened.
The Mandela effect.
And it was with CERN turning on in 2012.
Yeah.
We broke reality. It's split in two. You got the cornucopia and the fruit of the loom, and you got the fruit of the loom with no cornucopia.
Yeah. This
You got
bitch
the
broke out a Fruit of the Loom reference, dude. I love it.
You got the Berenstein Bears or the Berenstein Bears.
Dude, I got to give you credit. I have never heard anybody use Fruit of the Loom like intellectually. Like outside of underwear, I've never, dude, that's the greatest fucking reference of all time.
Well, it's common in the
Greatest
Mandela
reference of
effect.
all fucking times, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the podcast. Sorry for dropping F-bombs, but that was amazing.
Well, in that rabbit hole, or that echo chamber or sphere of people, believers, or those that are interested in the Mandela effect, and I have curiosity in it. You know, the multidimensionality of reality is probably true. And you know, Elon Musk says that the chances that we're in base reality, this being the base, is less than 1%.
Oh, I believe that too.
You talk to physicists, quantum mechanics, you know, all these scientists, and a lot of them come back to source or being or God through science.
I mean, base reality is something everybody should believe in to a degree. Mm-hmm. But that's a whole nother. We need to table that for another day. What was I going to say? Oh, the Mandela effect, though. I do very much believe in the Mandela effect. It happened with me, and it's the first time I ever heard of it with Ed McMahon and the Publishers Clearinghouse Sweepstakes. So he never actually was the guy who. He never actually worked for the Publishers Clearinghouse Sweepstakes. We always thought he did.
He just handed out the checks.
It was another company, and we've always somehow associated with those two things. But
what do you think about Nelson Mandela? What do you remember of Nelson Mandela?
I can't even get into Nelson Mandela as a person. I just know the Mandela effect. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know enough to sit here and articulate about Nelson Mandela.
I don't know much about him either. Just that in my younger years, I remember hearing about this oppressed leader that died in jail. Yeah. And he shouldn't have been locked up. And then years later, he came out of jail.
I want to go watch the movie
and he became a leader again.
I want to go watch the movie now because I want to find out how he correlates to the term Mandela effect.
It was he was the first major reference out there on a global scale that people have that the population, the human population of this planet, have two distinct memories, and when they will argue about it. No, he died in jail. No, he's out. I remember him dying in jail. How is he out? He died in jail.
I don't know enough about him.
Bringing back to this lady with her VHS tapes, like it'd be interesting to see what she has from the news in that time.
I don't know enough about, if I don't know something, sometimes I'll just say I don't know, because if I try to bullshit you through it, it'll be like the end of Billy Madison, right? You'll be like, we are all now dumber forever hearing your explanation there. So I'll try my hardest not to bullshit through a lot of things. But also the Mandela effect. Do you think it's possible that we could be pushing the Mandela effect too hard to try to scrub the memory from people on certain things we don't want them to remember, right?
Certainly. It could be a psyop or psychological operation of sorts.
I have this theory. I think we're trying to, I hate to say it, I think I don't want to get into that right now.
Table that for the next
I don't want to get into that right now. That's gonna, as much as I love the engagement, I don't really want to spark the controversy, so I'll save that thought. With that, let's get away from anything that's too hardcore, and let's go into something a little more peaceful. Yeah. So guys, if you have been following our show for the first couple episodes, this is only our third. I think we are in a little better rhythm. I think we're doing better. I think we are. Anyhow, so if you've been following it, you know that Wayne at the end of every episode is going to lead us in a little meditation to just help you, find some clarity throughout your day. And so wherever you are, wherever you may be listening, pull over. If you're in the car, if you're in the couch, sit back, relax, enjoy the sweet sounds of Wayne leading us in meditation. And as always, I will remind you to tree your mind, and the rest will follow. Wayne, take it away.
Well, I appreciate that, Matt. A nice warm lead-in and introduction. If you got any value out of this today, had any fun with us, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Quick little plug there. So I wanted to do something today with regards to meditation, especially over the last week. I had a few more people just pop up in my world, people I know. And when I say pop up, they jumped into a conversation I wasn't planning on, wasn't expecting. It's fun, it's fine. And they just openly told me that they want to start meditating. And they don't know how, and maybe they have some objections or some hurdles to get over, whether it's their Christian beliefs, and is this go against that, or they just don't know where to begin. and it seems like the entry to the barrier to entry is real big for them. So what I wanted to do was explain a basic technique that anybody can use anytime, and kind of the behind it as well. So this is my favorite technique. It's a little breathing exercise. It's called a clearing breath. I use this in the beginning of every meditation, at least 90% of them, 9 out of 10. And I use this whenever I'm feeling stressed out, whenever I'm feeling a little wound up and I just need to woosah. That could even mean like driving. You know, if my insides are moving faster than traffic around me, I will employ this technique. Now, with that being said, don't close your eyes driving and do this. This is an exercise you can do with your eyes open. Closing your eyes, you might get a little more out of it. And for me, closing my eyes, then doing this on repeat for 2 to 3 minutes will be the entryway into oftentimes a much longer format, deeper meditation. However, it can be just a 30-second to a minute exercise. And so with all of that being said, I'd like to do this together. I'll walk us through the first 2 or 3. We'll do a few more on our own and just see how that feels. Okay? As far as technique, if everybody can go ahead and get seated if you're not already. If you would like to participate while driving and closing your eyes, pull over, like Matt said. Get nice and comfortable, hands in your lap or on your legs, palms open, up or down, whatever feels good. Now, while we're doing this and you're settling into just a natural, soft breath, I'll explain to you that if you can, if you're not all stuffy and sinusy right now, we're going to breathe in real deep through our nose. And quickly, we'll do a full inhalation within about 3 seconds. We're going to hold it for 2 seconds and then out for as long as we can. We did a little bit of this the other day. I just really want to expand on this and kind of drive this one home, because this clearing breath, this 3-2-6 breath, is a foundational, or a 4-2-8, 4 seconds in, holding for 2 and 8 seconds or longer out. Has been foundational and very helpful for me along the years, so I trust that somebody out there appreciates this and gets something out of this. So whenever you're ready, eyes closed or at a nice soft 3/4 gaze, we're going to take a nice deep breath, filling the entire contents of our lungs with fresh air. 1, 2, 3. Holding it for a second, and nice, long, strong, slower exhale out, emptying the content of our lungs. We're going to repeat that, rolling the breath back in through our nostrils. And out, nice and slow, feeling our shoulders soften with each exhale. Doing another one together here. Nice and slow out the mouth until there's no breath left in those lungs, and all that stale air is out, releasing all tension and stress with it. Repeating on your own. Watching your breath. Couple more. Letting those thoughts go with each exhale. Do at least one more on your own here, at your own pace. Extending that exhale as long as you like and feels good. And continue that as long as you like. Or if you're ready to come back, slowly open your eyes, wiggle your fingers, toes, letting that light back in bit by bit. How did that feel?
Felt amazing. There's always, when I'm meditating, a lot of times, even sometimes just with my eyes shut and I'm not trying to meditate, although that's probably a form of it, but sometimes if you know, there's always like this little, almost like little pinpoint of like, black hole or something that, and sometimes when I catch it, like when I've zeroed in so tight that I catch that little like black hole, that little pin prick, you know what I'm talking about? I don't want to let it go. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm getting closer into the universe at that point, right? So it's like I caught it at the very end. Last time I opened up a little early, and I caught that little, that little tunnel essentially. And I caught when I got into that tunnel, I was like, I don't want to let it go. So I was holding on to that, and then it disappeared. So I don't know. Maybe it's the silver in my mind, right?
It might be the silver. It might be the breath and just opening the space. So, when we clear the space from all this noise and clutter from our life, then we allow our thoughts to come to the surface. We allow, maybe God or source or creativity to come in. And that to me is fun. So maybe that was the entryway to a bigger space and place you were headed.
I think so.
And so for anybody that's listening to this, that's still here with us, I encourage you to go do more of that. Try it on your own. Set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes and just watch your breath just like that for 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out. And with that,
always fun. It's been a pleasure.
I love you, brother.
I love you too, man. Be good. Guys, take it easy.